Welcome to the Daily Tanya. Today's Thursday, the 22nd day of Iyar, and let's begin with Tzedakah Gedela. Tzedakah shemekareves hageula. Tzedakah brings Mashiach closer. Make sure to give Tzedakah every day. And today we start the new chapter, chapter 50 in the Tanya. And here the Alter Rebbe is going to teach us yet a new level of love to Hashem. And in the last few chapters, the Rebbe discussed the necessity to do the Torah mitzvahs not only mechanically, not just to do them, although this is the most important thing, is the action. Have just to meditate and feeling in the heart and not do mitzvahs doesn't mean anything, it's not good. Bottom line is we have to do the Torah mitzvahs, fulfill God's commandments, to put on tefillin, to keep kosher and Shabbat and everything. This is what Hashem wants from us, and that's the bottom line. That's the main thing. That's also what elevates the world to Hashem. But yet, as we explained earlier in the Tanya, that you have to have also the mitzvahs should have a feeling of love and fear of Hashem. And that is what allows it to soar up high to the higher levels. So the Alter Rebbe in the last few chapters discussed different types of love, what leads a person to love. And the last thing we discussed was the love that is reciprocal love, meaning that Hashem, you reciprocate what Hashem does to you, and you feel what Hashem does to you, and you think about what God does to you, and it creates a love towards Hashem, a reciprocal love. And now the Alter Rebbe says that all of the different levels of love that we discussed until now, there's one common denominator between them. They are all the kinds of love that you want to achieve something. You want to connect to Hashem. It's something that you are gaining a connection. So there is the you that reaches out to Hashem and wants to be connected to Hashem. Here, Alter Rebbe is going to explain that there is a higher level of love, and that is a love that it's not about you, it's about completely being consumed in God's presence. A kind of love that he compares the love that this is the gold versus the silver. Just like the silver is a more calm, the silver, the look of the silver is more calm. The gold is more of a fiery thing. That he compares it to the water and fire. The love like water is something like, just like the water, more of a calm thing. Water is also something that connects different objects together. The fire is something that separates. Also, the fire has the nature of going upwards, and as if it wants to separate from its wick and to go upwards. And the same thing is this kind of love that the Rebbe is going to discuss now, is the kind of love to Hashem when you really think and meditate about the greatness of Hashem, and you realize how being consumed in Hashem has no limits. So it's not about you gaining something that you want, it's about Hashem, it's about God. And it's about you wanting to be completely consumed in Hashem. That is a very high level of love. And let's see inside what the Alter Rebbe says in chapter 50 in Tanya. Says the Alter Rebbe, V'hinei, kol b'chinas madrigas ahava nizkoris leil ein mesitra d'yamina u'b'chinas kohen ish chesed. All the forms of levels of love mentioned above derive from the right side, from the level of the Cohen. For a Cohen is called a man of kindness, meaning that his form of service, of serving God, comes under the category of chesed. A Cohen is the side of chesed, the side of kindness. Cohen is the one is about representing the Jewish people in the Holy Temple and connecting the Jewish people with Hashem, bringing down all of these godly levels down to this world and connecting us with Hashem. ונקרוא is כסף הקודשים, מלשון נחשפת לבית אביך. They are called kesef hakochim and longing for holy things. The word kesef, which means silver, and it means money, and also it comes from the word nichsof, nichsafta, a kind of longing. So it's called kesef hakochim milashon nichsev nichsafta lebeis avicha. That as in the word, you're sorely longed for your father's home. So this is the level of love that we discussed until now. Level of love that is something about longing to Hashem, wanting to connect, and wanting with all the different types of meditations that lead to that love. But it's all about the common denominator between them is that it's all about connecting to Hashem, and in a way, it's when you're receiving something and you become complacent in a way with what you're gaining. Of course, there's levels grading higher and higher, but it's all about really reaching and connecting to you. There is, however, another level of love which excels all these aforementioned levels, as gold is superior to silver. So it says this superiority subsists not in the degree or intensity, but rather in the quality and character. This is not just a quantitative superiority in that gold, in the analogy, is worth more than silver. A small quantity of it fetching a higher price than a large quantity of silver. That's not what it's about. The superiority of gold lies in the fact that the most refined type of gold possesses a captivating luster which glistens in the eyes of the beholder. As explained in the Zohar, all other types of gold are related to this type. Silver, on the other hand, does not possess this quality of captivating, the sprinkle, in the gold. You look at it and you see this has a special look that attracts the person. The same distinction exists between the form of love described in this chapter, which has a characteristic of thirst and rapturous expiry into godliness, and the other forms of love which do not have this quality. That's what Alter Rebbe goes on and says, Vehi ahava kerish payesh. This is a love like glowing coals of fire. A burning love. Unlike the aforementioned forms of love, which are essentially like water, for the soul is drawn with a yearning toward God, like water, which flows and is attracted in a certain direction. Hence, in the wording of the prayer for rain, said on the Shmini Atzeret, on the last day of Sukkot, and say, remember our forefathers who have drawn after you like water. So this love, on the other hand, has a totally different quality, that of glowing coals of fire. So it says, this derives from the level of the higher gevuras of the higher bina. In other words, the source of this love is from the level of gevura in bina. Now I know, which means, what is bina? Bina is the meditating in godliness. I know, The arousal of this love comes about through meditation on the greatness of the Infinite One, before whom all is considered as absolute nothingness. This light, this life and nefesh, likat tiferes gedulasoi, uleistakol bikor de malke. Then the soul becomes inflamed and flares up towards the precious splendor of his greatness in order to gaze upon the glory of the king. This is the content of this love, to gaze upon the king, to see the king, and you can't have enough of it. You want to have, you're seeing, you're looking at the king, you're appreciating the godliness, realizing how everything else is nothing in comparison to Hashem. So this is Kerish Be'esh Shaleves Azor Eila Lemala. It is like a glowing fiery coals of a mighty flame which surges upward. Not a love which is drawn towards some object, but one which ascends with the burning fire of kelot nefesh. Kelot nefesh means the expiration of the soul. And it strives to be parted from the wick and wood on which it has taken hold. This results from the predominance of the element of divine fire that is in the divine soul. So unlike other forms of love, which derive from the element of water in the divine soul, this is the element of fire in the divine soul that yearns to connect to something greater. Is not complacent. It wants to completely go higher and higher and higher. Now from this, the soul comes to a thirst, just in the physical domain, one becomes thirsty when the element of fire predominates. So it is in the spiritual domain too. The ascendancy of the divine soul element of fire creates a thirst within the soul. As it is written, my soul thirsts for you. And then it leads to the next step, the next level. You're thirsty, then you become lovesick. More than just thirst. Then it reaches the level of love sickness, where the soul is sick with love of God, just as an unquenched physical thirst brings on a state of sickness. Let's say once the Baal Shem Tov, there was a doctor, a big doctor, came to the town of the Baal Shem Tov, and they wanted to check the Baal Shem Tov, they checked his pulse, and he said, there's something wrong with you, but I can't pinpoint what it is. And Baal Shem Tov told him, of course you can't, because this is a different type of sickness. This is cholas hava. This is a sickness, a love sickness to Hashem, and that's beyond the scope of your profession. So this is the concept of being love sick to Hashem. And then it comes to a virtual expiring of the soul, kloisa nefesh. As it is written, and my soul expires, if not for the consequent contrary sensation of retreat and restraining oneself, as explained further, the soul would literally expire. Except that the soul realizes that, yes, we have a mission, we got to be here. So now the Alter Rebbe is going to explain something interesting. He says this level of love is connected with the level of the Levites. The level of the Cohens is the level of chesed, the level of kindness, the level of love that comes of water, of connecting. The Levites, what did they do in the Holy Temple? They would play the music, the musical instruments, and their music was there is this note that goes expresses a feeling of yearning and wanting to disconnect and connect to Hashem and disconnect from this world, and then it goes back down. It's a back and forth thing. So now he's going to say also that when Mashiach comes, this level of love will be revealed more, and then the Cohens, the Levites of today, they will be the Cohens of the future. Meaning that the Cohen of the future will be born obviously to a family of a Cohen, but is going to have a soul, the soul of the Levites of today. So it says, from here, from the level of the higher gevuras, of the higher bina, is derived the source of the divine service of the Levites below in this world. In the future, when the world will be elevated, they will be the Kohanim. Unlike now, when the Levites are the secondary to them, as it is written, they shall accompany you and serve you. So now the Kohen is on top, and the Levi serves the Kohen. Then the Levi will be higher. And again, it doesn't mean that the laws is going to change. The Kohens is still going to be the Kohens, but the Kohens that are going to be born in the time of Mashiach will have a soul, a kind of soul of the Levites, that type of soul that wants to reach up high, because then we'll be in that level that we will be able to have that level of love to Hashem, the love of a fire. As our master, Rabbi Yitzchak of blessed memory, commented on the verse, but the Kohanim, the Levites of today will become the Kohanim of the future. And he explains what was the level of the Levites. The Levites serving God, the Levites' service of God, was to raise their voice in melody and thanksgiving with song, music, tunefulness, and harmony. So music characteristically combines varied and even opposite moods. Some serious, stemming from Gevura, and others happy, stemming from Chesed. So this is B'Bchinas Rotze V'Shuv. Their music progressed in a manner of advance and retreat. Rotze literally means running, and Shuv, returning. This echoed their form of service, of serving God, the headlong advance towards Kalois HaNefesh, it's advancing towards Hashem, towards expiration of the soul, and then the retreat, the restraint and retreat and return from that point. Such is the nature of this intense love, like a flame that flashes out of a bazak, like a lightning, as is mentioned in the Gemara Chagiga. And Alter Rebbe says that this kind of love is something that cannot be explained, cannot be written down on paper. It is something that each person, according to their level, is able to understand something. What that fiery love means. It is impossible to explain this subject clearly in writing. Yet every person with a feeling heart, meaning who has perfection of heart, who is understanding in that he uses his faculty of bina, and intelligent in grasping a subject by using the faculty of chachma, and delves deeply to attach his mind and understanding to God by using his faculty of dat, will find goodness and light concealed within his intelligent soul. Kol chad lefum G-dly, each according to his capacity. Yesh mispail veyesh mispail. One is affected in one way, from one type of meditation, and one is affected in another way, by a different form of meditation. However, says the Alter Rebbe, in order to reach anything in that level, you first must remove the blockage. In order to be consumed in Hashem, you have to first remove to have first a fear of sin to be removed from all types of evil. And this is after prefacing this meditation by fear of sin. The fear of doing wrong by sinning in order to become utterly removed from evil, withholding oneself from doing any wrong. To avoid what the Torah says, that your transgressions interposing between you and God forbid. In other words, whatever form one's excitement with love of God takes, one must first be totally removed from evil doing. So this is the end of today's shir. Minutes Hashem. We'll see you tomorrow. B'ezrat Hashem. Have a wonderful day.